You ever found yourself in a pile of clothing you bought but never wear? I made a guide for you so you never regret another fashion purchase again. Hello everyone, my name is Andy and I love to talk about fashion, culture, or whatever I'm obsessed with that month. And this month, I'm making the guide that I wish I had before I started my fashion journey because I made so many mistakes, and in this video, I compressed all of the things that I've learned and all of the things that I think you should know in order to build a good wardrobe that you will not end up regretting. So you might have already figured out your personal style, but it is very likely that if you clicked on this video, you still don't have a clue of what your personal style is. This video is not here to tell you how to find out your personal style. I think personal style is something that takes a really long time to develop. It is something that changes as you change, and not having it figured out is fine, but what you can figure out is a guide on how to shop so you don't regret the stuff you buy. This guide contains 3 steps, and the first step is to identify your needs. I want you to take a pen and some paper and write the stuff down. Imagine an average week in your life. Write down all of the places that you have to get dressed for. Maybe you have to get dressed for work. Maybe you go to the gym. Maybe you have some, I don't know, you go on a coffee run with your friends once per week, or you go out for drinks. Any kind of activity that you do on a regular basis, maybe weekly or monthly, I want you to write it down and write how many times you have to go and do that. For example, I go to the office like 3 times per week, so I would write 3 and I need 3 outfits for that. Let's look at the dress codes for all of these places that you have to go to. You go to work. What do you wear to work? Do you have a business casual dress code, or do you have to dress like business professional? Do you have a uniform? Okay, so now it's time to take a look at your wardrobe and examine how many clothes you have for each occasion, for each place that you have to get dressed for. If you have a business casual dress code and you go to the office like 4 times per week, take all of the clothes that you would wear to the office and put them in piles. You should count how many tops you have, how many bottoms you have, how many dresses you have, how many shoes do you have. So now that you did the math and you know how many pieces of clothing you have for each occasion, it's time to think how many outfit combinations you can make with said stuff. You might find out a couple of things. One category is overrepresented and one category is underrepresented. Let's say you have a ton of athleisure, but you only go to work out like twice per week. But you don't have enough tops that work for your business casual dress code, and you keep re-wearing like the same 3 tops and you have to go to work every single day. You could use this information for a future declutter. For now, let's not declutter anything, and let's ask, do you like the clothes you have? Do you genuinely wear the clothes for the specific categories? For example, I looked at all of the clothes that I can wear to the office, and I found out that I don't genuinely wear a lot of them because they were really like stuffy tops that I bought a long time ago when I didn't even know what I liked, and I never ended up wearing them because they were in the wrong color, the cut was weird, I just did not feel comfortable in those clothes. So even though I had enough business casual tops, I didn't really want to wear the tops that I had, and I kept on gravitating towards things that black, towards things that had an interesting cut and maybe were a bit more simple or a bit more romantic. And this way I found out where I need to get more stuff and what I need to declutter. It's time to move to step number 2, which is fabrics and clothing maintenance. What was really transformative for me in my shopping journey was really examining what kind of fabrics I like and how much maintenance I'm willing to do for my clothes. I don't want you to go out there and buy a bunch of clothes that are hand wash only to realize that later and be devastated because you know you never hand wash your clothes. The questions you should ask yourself is, how much maintenance am I realistically willing to do for my clothes? Are you willing to hand wash them? Are you willing to take them to the dry cleaners? Are you willing to remove stains constantly because the thing is just white and stains show up very easily? I've bought stuff and then realized that, oh my God, this is hand wash only, and I procrastinated washing those things for such a long time because I don't really like hand washing and I hate taking stuff to the dry cleaners. So I realized that I never want to buy pants that are made out of wool, and I'm only willing to hand wash stuff if it's a sweater that will genuinely keep me warm in the winter and, you know, it's from this awesome fabric and it looks cool. The only hand washing that I'm willing to do is for my wool and cashmere sweaters or for some silk pieces that are very special occasion pieces. Now let's move on to our fabrics. I have arranged them in a list from easiest to take care of to the most difficult to take care of. I will list the benefits and the downsides of each fabric as well. Let's go. Let's talk about the fabric that is arguably the easiest to maintain, however, also the most controversial. Polyester. So polyester as a fabric is made out of plastic, as I hope already everyone knows. Some of the benefits of polyester are that it is almost always machine washable, wrinkle resistant, sometimes stain resistant. It is very durable and it is very good for performance. It is oftentimes waterproof. Some of the downsides of polyester are that it is not a breathable fabric. It loses stretch over time and oftentimes it traps smells. If you have gym clothes that are made out of polyester, you know this. Over time, they will start to stink and you just cannot get a smell out of them. The second one is denim. Some of the pros are that it is extremely sturdy, that genuinely it's easier to remove stains from it, and you don't need to wash it very frequently. Now, some of the cons are that it takes a long time to dry and you usually do need to iron it. The dyes usually fade over time, but I would say that's a plus because then your jeans can get that worn-in look, which is just so cute. Cotton is natural fabric that is also rather easy to maintain. Some of the pros include that it is breathable, that it is usually very comfortable, and it absorbs moisture really well. Some of the cons are that you really need to iron the cotton stuff. Maybe it will shrink if you wash it at a too high temperature, and sometimes it is hard to remove stains from cotton. Sometimes it is easy, but I find that sometimes it is hard, specifically with white t-shirts. Linen is a natural fiber that is just perfect for the summer because it keeps you cool. Now, some of the pros are its breathability, its durability. So some of the cons of linen is that it wrinkles a lot, really a lot, and it is extremely hard to impossible to keep linen garments straight, especially if you have a lot of movement, like in pants, for example. Wool and cashmere are those kinds of fabrics that are just really hard to maintain. However, they're so worth it. They're a natural animal fiber and they keep you warm in the winter. They're so good for winter garments and they also look amazing. They're very eco-friendly. When you're done with a wool sweater, did you know that you can bury it in your backyard and it will just decompose? The pros are, again, it is very good for winter, for insulating, for keeping you warm. It is still very breathable, something that polyester could never do. And it is very durable. You could genuinely buy a wool or cashmere sweater and have it for like 20, 30 years, something that you cannot say about polyester sweaters. Its cons are exactly the high maintenance. You have to hand wash them if you want to take care of them properly and if you want them to genuinely last you a lifetime. You have to use specific detergent. They can pill horribly, so you have to deep pill them regularly. Now let's move on to the hardest to take care of, and that is silk. This gorgeous, gorgeous fabric is also very dainty. So some of the pros are, of course, it is soft, it is luxurious, it drapes really nicely, it is just beautiful. It looks beautiful, but it is very high maintenance. You have to hand wash these things with a special detergent, and you have to be very gentle when you're hand washing things. And it also fades in the sun, and it is not an extremely durable fabric like wool would be. And the third and most important part is really, how do you want your clothes to make you feel? Do you want them to make you feel like a professional, competent, confident woman? Do you want to feel sexy? Do you want to feel beautiful? Do you want to feel cute? Or do you want to feel very inspired, very creative, very avant-garde with your clothing? And if you don't know where to start, I would recommend you find a style icon, someone you admire, and then really ask yourself, like, what do you genuinely admire about their style? Try to identify it. Do you just admire their confidence, the confidence with which they're wearing their clothes? Or do you like the cut of the clothes? Do you like the color of the clothes? Do you like the unusual styling of them? Like, get into the specifics and write it down. And when we're talking about style icons, I don't think you should go out there and just plainly copy other people, even though you can do that if you want to do that. I think you should take inspiration from them. Let them teach you what you genuinely like. And then when you have your inspiration, think about whether those clothes that inspire would work for your life. So we're going back to our own lives and reflecting whether those clothes work for our lifestyle. We're not just taking inspiration from someone blindly and following someone blindly that maybe has a completely different life than what our real needs are. Another thing you need to keep in mind is if the cut of those clothes would suit you, or if those colors would suit your complexion. And if you don't know if they would suit your body or your complexion, you could look into seasonal color analysis or maybe Kibi, even though the Kibi body type is extremely confusing and I don't recommend it to anyone. For some people, it is helpful, and for some, maybe not. Maybe just think about regular body shapes and what kind of shape do you want your clothes to give you. Another thing that I love to do is people watch. Just watch real people wear their outfits in real life, because it's easy to look at influencers and all of their outfits and then think, well, they look really awesome, but it's just not the right thing for a normal person living a normal life. Get inspired from real people. Get inspired from your coworkers. Inspiration is everywhere. Once you open your eyes and look around, you can find it in art, you can find it in literature, and you can find it in the people around you, in your friends, in your family members. Pinterest is a really good place to get some inspiration from. However, I find that it can be a little bit overwhelming because there's just too many pictures, too many things that are cute and look awesome. But when you really examine it, a lot of the outfits don't work in real life because they're outfits made by influencers. And I'm guessing that you want to dress for your real life and you don't want to be a copy of an influencer. So another place that could inspire you is a specific fashion brand and their styling. So find some fashion brands that resonate with your philosophy or with what you would need. If you don't have the time to go shop in person, I really recommend shopping online on secondhand websites. Once you know what you're looking for and you filter the results, you put the keywords in, and you're guaranteed to find something that is very similar to what you were actually looking for. The last point of this mindful shopping guide is waiting 24 hours or even a week or even a month before you hit purchase. We don't want to end up in the same place that we were before. We don't want to impulse buy a bunch of stuff that we don't end up wearing. So that's why it's very important to wait before you purchase, to delay the gratification of buying something new. Really consider, how can I style this piece? How does this fit into my wardrobe? How many outfits can I make with this piece? Will I be able to take care of this piece as it's required? And now let's summarize. So you have a guide. You know what kind of clothes you need. You know what kind of clothes to get rid of. You know how much work you're willing to put into taking care of said clothes. And you have your inspiration for what you want. Now you can go out shopping and find pieces that genuinely work for your wardrobe and ask yourself all of those questions that we discussed in those 3 points before you hit purchase. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, drop me a comment, and let me know which part was the most interesting for you. And see you next time. Bye bye.